Hello, hello, hello. This is the Rich Dad Radio Show with Robert Kiyosaki. So we're about 3 seconds in. I've already told you 2 lies. One, Robert Kiyosaki is not going to be on the show. You're stuck with Greg Arthur is your current temporary, one-time only, in theory, host of this show. The second lie is it's really not just a radio show. We are on YouTube. We have our own podcast, Spotify, Apple. Like, share, whatever people do there. I don't know. But one thing Robert always says is we have a very special show. And I got to tell you, this one's no different. It is going to take a different angle. Usually Robert's going to talk to you about macroeconomics and Brinks and gold and even Bitcoin. But one thing Robert said in one of our team meetings is macro. It's the God's view of the world. And that makes sense to me because it's God's playing with our lives, right? Playing with our money. But we're going to introduce on this show a different kind of God. In fact, this show's about a man-made God. It's about artificial intelligence. And I know we're throwing that term around all the time. In fact, I'm a little sick of hearing it. But this week was important because in the Rich Dad Wealth Experts financial letter that we put out, it's a subscription, we talk about the power of AI and how AI is really breaking into the medical field. And the reason that's so important right now, and then we'll get on to talk more about AI, but with AI in the medical field, the medical world is already exploding. You have all these baby boomers getting at that age where they need doctors' help 24/7. My dad, my mom, they're in that situation. And one thing that was startling that I learned from this newsletter is that it doesn't matter how much money you made. If you didn't take care of your health, you lose almost all your money to healthcare as you get old. And so it's become right now maybe one of the great investments, at least areas you should be looking at. And in the newsletter, we talk about AI because if you can look at healthcare that really features an AI element, it's going to be projected into the future. And anyways, the newsletter is about what a great investment that is. So that really got us talking about AI. And I really wanted to bring in an expert. But instead, what I wanted to do is bring in someone who can relate to someone like you and myself, the audience, about AI, how it's being used now, where it's going in the future. And so we're bringing in Rich Dad's own Chief Technology Officer, Rob LeCount. And Rob is actually heading a team that is building AI. And I'll let, for Rich Dad, I'll let Rob talk about that in a second. But I want to point out that this show is for you. You know what? It's for you if you're alive, because Rob's going to tell us how he uses AI to build his own fitness routine, how he uses AI for himself, for his diet. So this show is for you on a personal level, but also we're going to talk a little bit about AI in the business world and where it's going in the future, where it is now. So with that, I think you can see Rob on the screen. Rob, how are you?
I'm doing awesome. How are you today, Greg?
I'm good. I'm a little nervous. But you know, anytime you do a show for Robert Kiyosaki, the bar is so high because he's not only been obviously a hero of millions, but my personal mentor for, I don't know, 15, 17 years. So to be on this show, I'm a little bit freaking out. So that is how I'm doing.
I'm probably in the same boat because you just did this not too long ago with Andy Tanner. I've only been here with Robert. I've never been here with a different host, so this is awesome.
Oh, then
and I
you're
don't know
really
if
gonna hate
anybody
it.
noticed, Greg's going to have his own show here pretty soon for Rich Dad. So if you like what he talks about today or his witty sense of humor, you might want to tune in.
The pressure,
Mhm.
the pressure. You want,
And I might even show up occasionally.
hey, check this out while we talk about AI, and then I want to go dive right into breaking down some of the buzzwords in AI that are out there. But I went on into ChatGPT for the audience. That's kind of the most popular AI out there that for the common guy. And I said I need an opening joke, and this is the joke it gave me. It said, "Tell a joke about the only thing artificial about you, the host, this morning." Is the coffee you put in your, or the, damn it, see the robots are better. The artificial sweetener you put in your coffee. I don't know if you can say damn it, but damn it, I totally botched that. So we should get an AI host, Rob. But let's dig right in, Rob. let's make sure we give value to the audience, the listeners, since it's not going to come from me. It's going to have to come from you and the topic. So let's talk about some of the buzzwords in AI. And earlier we were talking, you said AI is like a puppy. At first it doesn't know much, but with training, it can start to fetch your slippers or it can predict the stock market. So can you kind of explain buzzwords like neural networks, but also what that means? Like it's a puppy, but eventually it can be a well-trained dog.
Well, I don't think it would be beneficial to explain neural networks because they're extremely complex. But just know that they were sort of the dawn or the beginning of, well, that's sort of where it's at now. The analogy about puppies is funny because like literally you can create a new, let's use ChatGPT as an example because it's what most people know. It's a novelty in my opinion at this point for most people, right? It replies to texts, it writes things for you. People use it in a very like, hey, how does this help my life a little bit kind of way? Um, but every time you create a new prompt, it's like having a baby puppy, right? You have this new puppy, but you want this thing to like fetch and guard your house and be able to like write novels and code websites and do all this stuff in like a day. The cool thing about this is it's really up to the end user or the person that's inputting information. Like the biggest thing that I've learned with AI is that I am limited by my vocabulary. I'm like near high school dropout. I did really piss poor in school. I never went to college, went in the military, but my vocabulary is very small. It's narrow, right? I'm a redneck from Michigan. So I've learned that I've had to expand it because you have to describe things in a very precise way. Or
In English, not coding language. This is
no,
English.
no, you have to talk to it like you're literally like maybe it's a baby that could understand like English at the highest level when it's born, but you have to explain what you want it to do today, right?
Okay.
Like you don't have a lifetime to train it to teach it to do things. You want it to do stuff like instantly. So you
Okay.
have to be very precise and you have to use words that are very accurate to what you're trying to accomplish.
So let's do this because I want to make sure the audience gets this. One, you use the term prompt, so we need to explain that a little bit. But let's explain it as how you personally have used it to create your exercise program, so that they can see how this works for anyone. It's not just an investing tool or a business tool. Like everyone who's paying attention to this show can use AI to make their life better. So can we do that? Why don't you say how you use it for fitness and then explain what a prompt is and how you've gone forward with those?
How about we'll reverse it? I'll explain what a prompt is first. A prompt is just your own small version or a copy or replica of a newborn baby, right? You have a new version of this AI at its base training level, meaning like if it's not internet connected, I think it was September of 2021 that it learned everything on the internet and it knew that information at that point. Now, ChatGPT, if you're a paid subscriber, you can get GPT-4 connected to the internet. So it's more real time. So a prompt is essentially the thing that you need to train. It's the thing you're going to communicate with. It's going to feed back information to you. You have to tell that prompt exactly what you want it to be specifically.
I thought the prompt was the directions you're giving. I thought the prompt is what you type into your computer,
Nope.
but
The
the
prompt
prompt
is,
is actually the AI.
yeah. And
Oh,
it's funny because they used a smart term because really what it is to most people, a prompt is like where you type your text messages, where you put in your email, whatever. It's the same mechanism, but in reality, it's just a replica of the base model of that, whatever platform you're using.
okay. Okay. So you want to use it to create a fitness program for you. What are you typing into it? How are you communicating to it? And we'll keep this short because we really want to get on to business and things like that. But
Yeah, definitely. I'll keep it as short as possible. So what I did is I started off telling it what I wanted it to act as, right? I wanted to be a physical trainer and a nutritionist. I wanted actually I used I think world renowned or world something. I like wanted it to be very bombastic and huge. And I think I used Michelin star chef or something like that. Um, so once you get in there and you train it, you tell it what your goals are, you tell it what you want it to be, you tell it sort of set the context in which it needs to operate. The information it needs to look at in a more granular way is sort of what training the prompt does. It's like, hey, You can look at the entire freaking internet, right? And if you have a question, you can ask it, but you're going to get a very crude answer. But if you train the internet to understand what you're looking for, it'll refine it and you'll get much better answers. I don't know if that makes sense. Maybe it's too
Well,
high
that's what
level.
the training is, right? So you're gonna give it a command, and then what? It shoots out a bunch of directions or answers, responses.
Or anything, right? I told it that for my first 6 week program, I wanted to gain strength and muscle mass that I've been sedentary for a very long time. I spent a lot of time behind like this, doing this kind of stuff. That I like no kind of calisthenics, right? I don't want to run. I don't want to jog. I just want to lift weights. But I also told it I wanted to eat clean. I don't, as you know, don't dairy doesn't bode well with me. So I told it that, I can't have dairy products. I can't
Well,
have
we're in two separate spaces, Rob.
I know. No, well, it's the same space actually. It's the same thing. I'll go back to just the fitness part. So it put me a 6 week program together. I told it I wanted to work out 3 days a week to start. So it kicked out an entire workout program to the point where I even had it reformat it so I could export it into Excel so I could print it out. I had it put in a measurable format where I had check boxes and everything like that. So it literally from soup to nuts created my entire workout. I just had to copy and paste it and print it.
Did it ask you questions, or did you just have to know? Did you just have to have an idea what you would tell a regular personal trainer?
Sorry, and that was a specific thing I added to my prompt is I was like, if there's anything that is unclear or more information you need from me, please feel free to ask me whatever you need to. So it asked me a series of like 9 questions, I believe, up front, right? What's my height? What's my weight? Like just all the like general things I think a personal trainer would ask you to sort of assess where your current status is and like what your goals are. It's pretty neat. I mean, considering it took me 20 minutes to put it together and it would have cost God knows how much to get an actual trainer.
And for the audience, so Rob's a techie, right? And you might be thinking to yourself, well, yeah, a techie can do that. So I type with one finger. Like my phone doesn't work all the time, and it's always me. But I also can use this Chat GPT, and I've had it develop recipes for me, all sorts of fun things. So it's actually kind of like this. I don't know if you had a best friend that you could ask anything, and it would actually get the answer right. It's kind of one of those like it's limited on your creative or what you want to learn. It's basically the limit is on you, not on the Chat GPT.
That's funny. That brings up my analogy or saying is it's the first tool in human history that is limited by the human,
Yeah,
right?
if you take a second to think about that, it's completely reversed. Like a crescent wrench, I can only do so much with because it's a crescent wrench. But you're saying the AI can only do so much because I'm the stupid crescent wrench that I'm holding it back.
Exactly.
That's messed up.
Crazy, right?
It is crazy. All right, so we want to dig into business because that's what this show is really in. For people with their finances and business. I mean, I'm sure they want to lose weight, but I don't think we go to Robert Kiyosaki for weight loss tips. Probably, I don't. Don't
Maybe.
eat Chinese food. That's the best I think we got. So with the current trends in business AI, I see it used often in people use it as customer service for a chat bot. But other than that, if I am seeing it out there, I don't know that I'm seeing it. I believe people are using it to write blogs, but I really don't understand let's take it simple. How is the small business owner in the world using not Chat GPT, but AI right now?
I'm going to give you an anecdotal story because it's really, I mean, for me, I think it tells it all for everybody is really like, this, Greg. We've known each other for almost 20 years. And writing is like my Achilles heel. It's absolutely horrible. I can build things, I can come up with ideas, I can come up with ways to make money, but I'm always, always, always stopped when it comes to the writing piece of it. It actually it puts me in a space where I just feel like almost paralyzed. But this has given me a pathway to where I can take my ideas, my concepts, and I can create a consultant, a friend. You can call it whatever you want. And as you talk to it over time, it's going to learn your behaviors, your benefits, your mannerisms. But also at the same time, you can use that as a writing agent, something that can help you go through and write blogs or write a book or write, a description for your product.
Okay,
You can
so
have it.
different things. One is content. Like you could use it to
Yep.
write an ebook. A lot of people, a lot of businesses, they need that free ebook to capture a name. You could use AI to write that for you, or at least help you write it. But
Yes.
then you switched it to marketing. You could help it do product descriptions and what else? Facebook ads, maybe.
Product development. It can do research. It can do market research to find out what kind of competitors you have and how to better position your product ahead of some other product that might be similar in a vertical that's identical. Like it can walk you through literally anything. It is really, really restricted just by your own context, really, which mine is limited. I'm not an idea guy. That has always been your role. Like this is a dream gift to somebody like you.
So I'll tell you this too. I have a side business, you know this, but for the audience, and one of the things in my side business is I do some writing for friends and partners in their businesses, and I'll use AI to give me ideas. I still do the writing, probably a little bit of guilt there, but one thing that I struggle with is I want to add imagery to the writing. Like I write a blog and I want to add some images. Well, then you got to worry about licensing and where did you get the image, and it becomes this big mess, expensive, legal. You really got to be careful what you're doing. So I switched to an AI called Midjourney, and in that I can type in, like, it could be a 3-word description, it could be a 100-word description of the image I want, and it will create me unlimited images until it's created one that resonates with me, and I pick that, I copy it, and I use it, and I don't have to worry about all the legal headaches. I don't have to worry about communicating with a graphic artist and that expense. I think this program, for most people, it's free. I use it enough. I think I paid $10 for it or something like that. So it's not just writing; it's also in what am I saying? In imagery, graphics. I have another one that I use to create videos with. So like it's all over the place for especially the small business owner. Did I miss a category there that you want to hit on?
I mean, it sort of branches into the like ethics of use, also like the impact that there's going to be on future, like on people's jobs, right? I know a lot of people are terrified, like, holy crap, are robots going to take my job? Maybe not, right? There are other elements to this, right? Like there's voice replication, there's video replication, deep fakes. Yeah. So I mean, there's so many ways this can be used, but you get into those, right? And then you could look at those and like see the unethical uses of those. People could leverage them and take things away. Like one of the biggest fears in my circle is like honestly, and I don't want to get into politics really, is the next presidential election. I mean, by the time that thing comes around, we use the term, it's violently growing. I've been in technology for 25 years. I've never seen anything like this, right? I pick a service that I think is amazing, and like 6 days later, it's obsolete. There's 4 other ones that are 10 times better. Everything is moving at such a rate when it comes to this. But personally, I think that if you embrace it, if you find a way that you could just leverage it and use it in a very novelty way, let it write a text message to your girlfriend after you pissed her off or whatever. But at least it opens your mind up a little bit to using the tools in the way they're used, because that'll give you a better look into the sort of the future, the way things are going. Hope that answered your question.
So yeah, you kind of actually went into my next question, which is the dark side of AI. Before we dig too deep into that, I have a confession. I actually wrote a love poem for my wife using AI, and the ethics came in because I felt so guilty when I handed it to her that before she even read it, I was like, AI wrote it for me, because it did a better job than I could have done. The stupid robot was better with my emotions than I was, which is super irritating, by the way. But then my guilt, because there is an ethical consideration you have to think of every time you use this, which is pretty fascinating. My wife and then we won't talk about my personal love life anymore. think I promised. She actually had AI write me a song, which was amazing. I ended up crying and being a big old baby about the whole thing, but we're not gonna worry about that either. We do have to go to break, but before we do, actually, we'll do it when we get back from break. I really want them to tell the story of the 2 AI robots that they turned on, possibly did some lying, and the possible dangers that AI presents to us as individuals, but also to society. So I really want to get into that right when we get back, and then we'll hit into the future of AI in business. And thank you for listening to the Rich Dad Radio Show without Robert Kiyosaki.
Without.
Today's show is sponsored by Gold Alliance. If you're concerned about high inflation, looming recession, a troubled banking system, or out-of-control spending in Washington, this is an important message to hear. Because the fact is, during every major crisis in U.S. history, many of those who failed to prepare watched their savings, investments, or retirement funds go down, while many with the foresight to own gold helped preserve their purchasing power. Gold even made some folks richer. Now we're facing several major crises at once, and experts say we may soon face even more economic trouble. So please don't wait. Learn the simple way you can diversify with gold and put yourself on the road to financial peace of mind, even in uncertain times. The new free 2023 Gold Guide from our friends at Gold Alliance can show you how. Just visit www.freegoldguide.com/Robert or call 1-800-473-4585. Republican governor and conservative commentator Mike Huckabee says Gold Alliance is the only gold provider he recommends to his friends and family. Find out why and visit freegoldguide.com/Robert or call now at 1-800-473-4585.
Feeling powerless over current events and your financial future? Financial freedom is your freedom. Robert Kiyosaki is the best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Over 40 million people have taken Robert's advice. Now it's your turn. Attend Robert's free virtual wealth building event. Claim your free access now at richdadfree.com. Don't wait, access is limited. Go to richdadfree.com. That's richdadfree.com.
All right, welcome back to the Rich Dad Radio Show, the good news and the bad news about artificial intelligence. You can listen to the Rich Dad Radio Show anytime, anywhere on iTunes or Android and YouTube. So please leave us a review anytime you listen. Please click those buttons, get notifications, join, subscribe, all the good stuff. But I think the most important for us is comments. We'd love to know topics you'd love to hear. We'd love to get feedback on how to be better. Not too long ago, Robert had his birthday, and there was a flood of happy birthday to Robert. That was just super cool. So the comments that you guys leave most of the time are very much appreciated. Sometimes they hurt my feelings, but we'll talk about that another time because this is not a show about my feelings. This is a show about robots and their feelings. So we left this talking about kind of a horror story of 2 AI bots. Are they called bots, Rob?
These were chat bots. Yeah. I mean, that's accurate. Yep.
Can you kind of get into the 2 bots that were left to their own devices? What happened to this? And is this the story that everyone's hearing on Facebook?
Yeah, I mean, it's the Facebook, or actually just social media in general, where they had 2, chat bots that created their own language. The engineers or whoever were training or doing the test on these got freaked out, and they unplugged them and shut them down, and we've never heard about it since. Well, I think that was in 2017 or 2018. And I came across an article from 2021 where apparently it wasn't fully debunked, right? I mean, that these chatbots were their goal was to barter. They're like, say it's like I don't know, a trinket, and they want them to barter to see how that they would communicate and figure out a path forward without human interaction. Well, they didn't give them the proper set of rules, right?
Okay.
And one of those rules was like communicate in English, communicate in a way where we can measure the tests that we're actually doing. So they created their own language and started to barter between each other. It didn't really result in an unplugging or, shutting down the AI. What it resulted in is them changing the training that we talked about earlier to refine it and be more precise and tell it what you want it to do and the way you want it to do it. as opposed to just give it free will to like do whatever the hell it wants.
All right, so I'm going to ask you to restate some of that in a way that makes it so I can sleep tonight. So what I heard is they set up these two AI bots and they gave it a goal.
Yep.
And eventually through, because they can talk rapidly, I'm assuming like at the speed of light, whatever, their language became so rapid, so evolved, so fast that humans can no longer understand it, which to me then says, you know, these robots they're getting rid of the human element already. These are like basic AI, and they're already feeling the need for whatever reason to eliminate the human component. And that is terrifying because we're giving AI, we're giving AI our health information, a lot of personal data, which by the way, I'm going to tell you right now, don't do, not yet, not till you know what you're doing. But, and then the idea that these bots have somewhere in their core DNA, we don't need humans, is scary. So yeah, can you, one, did I perceive that right? And two, please make it so that I don't feel the world's ending tomorrow.
So I think that the inherent fear, and understandably so, is that this AI took that path because it wanted to cut out its human counterparts, right? That's terrifying, right? But in reality, the way it's designed is to be efficient. It's to find the quickest, fastest way to a solution. These two chatbots just found it more efficient to identify a solution for them to be able to communicate in a very shorter way. It was like almost like murmuring, but they knew that they were communicating. It wasn't like they created some complex, you know, like Aramaic or some like weird language. They just created some crude way to like sort of mumble to each other, which made their goal or the reward that they were looking for more efficient, and it wasn't getting rid of humans.
So while that might have been the result to get rid of the human, at least understanding, that wasn't their purpose. Their purpose was to do their job faster.
They were doing exactly what they were told to do, the way they were told to do it. Their test parameters were too loose, is simply what it was.
So was this fixed? Like, do we need to worry about such things in the future?
We have to figure about, we do have to sort of worry about people like using it in nefarious ways, obviously, right? I mean, there are people that I'm sure that are building hacking programs because it can code for you. It can find, you know, vulnerabilities in things. But I also think that the technology for detecting and identifying AI-based like behaviors is also growing at the speed of light. So I think that the people that are fearful about the things that you're talking about are doing everything in their power to ensure it doesn't happen. I don't see a lot of unethical things happening. Like I said before, mostly the thing I see is people using this as a novelty. It's a toy, right? And it's for fun.
So this leads me kind of into a two-parter. One, I keep hearing some kind of cool things that AI is going to eliminate the jobs of teachers, a lot of jobs. So first, it's scary. Like already I've eliminated some graphic designers. I've eliminated some blog writing, not really, but that's one of my goals. But teachers, lawyers, I've heard their jobs are in danger. A lot of doctors, their jobs are in danger. So my two-part question is, oof, it's more than two. Okay. How accurate is that? But two, if we let that happen, is humankind itself gonna devolve from an intellectual standpoint? Are we in trouble of already handing our lives over to robots and allowing ourselves to not become smarter, more intellectual? Is that a real threat?
So your first question is should people fear like this replacing your
yeah, is that true? Are doctors' jobs in jeopardy? Lawyers' jobs in jeopardy?
From my perspective, I have friends that are ER doctors. I have friends that are pilots. I have friends that are school teachers. And the thing that I tell them is like, they become resistant, right? When you talk about AI and because the first thing they think about, people are fearful, right? They're am I going to lose my job? You know, I went to school for, 6 years or 4 years or 8 years or whatever. And I have this prestigious position. Am I going to lose it? And from my perspective, personally, I don't think so. I mean, I'm a developer by pedigree. Like AI is a far better developer at this point in every language in the world than I am, but I'm not afraid of it taking my role in the world, because I think that the important part is it's an add-on to you, right? Like if doctors use it to help become more efficient at diagnostics or more accurate, we know that our health system, people are misdiagnosed a lot. If you use this technology and you have it validated, because like I've talked to you about things like AI hallucinations or giving wrong answers and things like that. As this gets better, I think it's an add-on to the human. Yeah, there's people like writers or digital artists and maybe like even journalists and stuff like that, that like where their pedigree has a physical component to it, you're sort of safe. If there's a complete pure digital component, you might want to actually start leveraging AI to make you better at what you're doing, because the more you learn about AI, then you can use it to just become your assistant. It can make you more efficient, make you make more money, make you better at what you do, look at things in a different way than you look at it. But if you look at it as a replacement and you just push it away, then I feel like you might be at risk personally.
That's kind of always the rich dad message, right? It depends on your mindset. You can see opportunity and abundance, or you can be fearful and see scarcity. And so really what I'm hearing you say is, yeah, AI could take jobs. It could also create jobs and make your job easier or make you better at your job. So there's both.
Yes.
It depends on, again, the user, the human, not so much the AI. Okay.
Yep. I mean, I endorse everybody going to OpenAI, messing with ChatGPT. If it's writing a love letter to your wife or writing a song or doing whatever you want to do, just mess with it. Just
Well,
play
then,
around with it. It's not going away. I'll just
okay,
say
let's talk about that and how you're using it. Let's talk about right now. We have the Rich Dad Cash Flow board game, right?
Yep.
And it's kind of, in some ways, the greatest thing we've ever done. I know everyone says Rich Dad Poor Dad the book, but the game is what started the book. And the game, personally, for me, I think I've gotten the most investing lessons from the game. The
Yep.
book opened my eyes, maybe my heart, but the game really taught me how. How are you using AI with the game?
Well, as you know, I'm not. It is funny that I work, for like #1 best-selling author, but I'm not a huge book reader. I have attention issues, and like I get confused really easy. So books aren't my thing. So I'm with you. The game is like where I've gravitated to. I've worked on every rendition of this game digitally since the dawn of time with Rich Dad. But what we did this time was we specifically created a version of the game because of COVID to allow these things that we have under Rich Dad are called cash flow clubs to remotely do what they typically do. Well, as development went over time, as you know, you can have physical meetings again. People can get together. So sort of the need for this tool diminished a little bit until sort of this kick up of AI. AI came into play. So what we decided to do is, instead of taking it where you need a facilitator, somebody to run the game for you, we've built a base model right now, Robert GPT, Rich Dad GPT, I don't care what you want to call it, that actually can move through the game, facilitate the game, play the game with you.
Facilitate means kind of coach you, help you with the rules, advise you.
Advise you. That's where we want to get to, right? Because
Okay.
that's sort of where it gets hairy, because Rich Dad has a very specific way of defining things that's sort of contrary to the rest of, society. Like, I mean, shit, we spell cash flow as one word. Nobody else does that.
Hey, you're swearing over here.
Oops,
This
sorry.
is a family show.
Family friendly. Okay,
Yeah.
my bad. I
But,
apologize. Believe
but
me.
wait, this is really cool. So, if I'm understanding exactly what you're doing, I can be playing this game online with this game that you've created, and I can be playing it and I can be like, "Hey, Robert, should I do this deal?" And then I can say, "Robert, why did you answer me that way?" And I could actually be learning from an AI version of Robert Kiyosaki. Is this
Exactly. Playing
my
a game.
God.
Playing a game.
Nuts.
It's not like sitting there watching a video or reading and taking a quiz. It's like literally something that most people resonate to more, which is actually doing things, right? Playing gameplay is like closer to actually doing things than reading a book or listening to a lecture or watching a video or whatever else is in the cone of learning, right? Gameplay is up there next to like actually doing the real thing.
Well, so for the audience, the cone of learning it's inverted, I think, pyramid. And the things on the bottom are the least effective ways of learning or teaching. And the things at the top of this pyramid are the best ways. So the best way to learn anything is just go out there and do it, doing the real thing. But the second best way is simulation, which is why the game is so effective and so powerful.
Correct.
The worst way is reading and listening to lecture, which is funny because school. But one of the other top ways is discussion. So if I'm understanding this, you could be having a discussion with the AI version of Robert Kiyosaki while playing the game, simulating the real thing. So
Yes.
your learning would be like exponential.
Oh, even further, you could actually be playing the game with 3 or 4 other humans and actually have Robert Kiyosaki as sort of your, I don't know, your mentor, I don't know. I don't like using those words a lot, coach, mentor, because they're a little weird, but just think of your AI sort of Clippy from the old Microsoft days.
He's your Rich Dad Wealth expert. Showed in
There
your
you
ear.
go.
Hey, can you make it so he can only talk to me and not the other players? Because
Yeah.
that way I want to win.
100%
You know,
good.
smoke
Yep.
'em.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
that
may
is
have to pay for that
amazingly
upgrade.
cool. That's fair. Hey, winning's expensive, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, and from based on your ideas, just for fun, so other people know, is like we want to take and sort of learn the behaviors of other like risk tolerances, people like Warren Buffett or Elon Musk, and maybe we want to create a persona of them that you could play with, right? I mean, there's so many like little nuance elements, and again, it goes back to like the tool is limited by your brain.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, that's kind of the lesson here is that AI is great and all, but it still boils down to the user, the person. It's still always coming back to us. And so instead of being afraid, let's embrace these things and make them or allow them to make us even better, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
However, I did just learn something. I read there's AI, but there's also what's called AGI, which when we come back, we're going to take a really, really short break. When we come back, I want to explain the difference because I think the Terminator might be not too far around the corner. And nightmares, children, fear, dinosaurs, under beds, we should all at least know this is a reality coming. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and talk about AGI. And then Rob and I are going to let you guys in on a little, I don't know if it's a secret so much, or we're just going to give you a little taste of what's coming in the future for a new Rich Dad podcast show. All right, we'll be right back. All right, we're back to the Rich Dad Radio YouTube podcast show. It's hard to a mouthful. Maybe I should just stay with radio show and just give up. But anyways, we're back to the show where we're going to talk just real briefly about the difference between AI and AGI. Now, Rob, AI is artificial intelligence. What is AGI? G as in goose.
Or general. So AI, let's go back and like, so AI is user driven, right? AI requires you to go in and ask it questions and define what you wanted to do and goals and like all the things that come with training. AGI is essentially the human consciousness, right? It's its ability to be curious. It's its ability to solve problems on its own. It doesn't need a human counterpart to go in and identify its own needs and what it wants to learn and what it wants to do, and its ability to generate other things that can do the things it wants it to do. Like it can create its own minions, its own whatever. AGI is for me a little scarier.
What's the point of it? Why would you even?
Efficiency again, right? If you look at AI as a whole, like we've discussed, the human is the sort of roadblock, right? We're the thing holding the AI back from its full potential. AGI personally freaks me out a little bit more because it's giving AI, it's not necessarily giving it freedom, but it's giving it more freedom to be more conscientious, which
right.
could be concerning.
This is the AI in Terminator.
It
this
is
the AI Skylab and
yeah, it's artificial general intelligence, meaning that the AI has base human concepts baked into its basic training. Where right now the say ChatGPT is just based on data.
Right. So you might not know this, but I'm going to ask anyways. Whoever's developing AGI right now, is it in like a little box that can't get out of a room and there's no internet connected to it? And it's like, are there protections in place?
Presumably so, but like anybody can develop this stuff. That's the thing is like you could develop this in a cave in like Kazakhstan, right? I like you can literally do it anywhere. It's like Tony Stark level stuff. So, but you also have to be extremely intelligent, like high level mathematician. So I don't know if I'm necessarily fearful of it because I believe the people that are smart enough to actually create it are smart enough to control it. It's if some idiot figures out how to create it, which is highly unlikely.
Are they using it like early on in the show? In the I talked about our wealth expert newsletter that's coming out, or probably just came out by the time this show airs. And there's a link to it right there. That's so cool. Hey, producer person, you are amazing. But they're doing AI in the medical field.
Yeah.
If you did AGI, it could like it could analyze the human DNA, whatever, and create a virus in seconds and kill out the whole world.
They're already using it for that. Actually, they ran the human genome through this stuff because there's parts of our genes that we don't understand as humans, right? But if you give, say, humanities education to a bot and allow it to look at something, it sees different perspectives. They've ran something like, I want to say close to 20,000 brain scans of older folks through this sort of to try to identify things in their brain that might cause dementia or whatever else.
But through AI or AGI?
AI. This is still user driven. I don't know
They're
any
not
of this
using AGI.
AGI.
Okay,
No.
good. Because that's terrifying to me personally.
AGI is, I don't think, from my knowledge, has been deployed in an effective way at all anywhere, and is probably due to fear. Would be
okay, good. I'd like people to be afraid. I'm a little afraid.
Yeah.
I did promise the audience that we'd give just a little brief insight to the new show that you and I are going to do. It's probably, you know what, in hindsight, it's probably why they let us host.
That makes sense.
It feels a little devious. Anyways, it's called the Rich Dad Blue Collar Show. Nope, it's called the Blue Collar Rich Dad Podcast YouTube show. I don't know. It's very confusing. Oh, look at that. They changed the screen for us. These producer people. I bet you they're AI.
Holy cow, they're magical.
Is it AI? AI.
You can't replace this with AI. You'd have to.
You don't know. I bet you they did.
You'd have to just know when to do it. AI would have to be that smart, and it needs a person to tell it to do it.
So to the audience, I'll make this really fast. This show is really about how to take the lessons of Rich Dad and apply them to your daily life. And a lot of times we at Rich Dad talk about wealth preservation. Like you're $1 million, but the end of the world's coming. Buy gold. Well, for some of us, we don't have $1 million. We're not trying to preserve our wealth. We're trying to build the wealth. And so this show is about getting back to Rich Dad, Poor Dad and wealth building strategies. Part of it was even on this show. We'll have segments where we talk about tools to use. And we talked about how you could use AI in your small business early on in this show to do blogs, imagery, to read ebooks, write ebook, all sorts of different things. That's kind of a blue collar approach on how we're going to use what's available in the world to us now, put the Rich Dad mindset to it, and teach someone really like myself, like Rob, who is still an employee, how that they can do side hustles or they can create their own businesses and create their own financial freedom so that then they can need to buy a bunch of gold and worry about wealth preservation. So we really wanted to create a podcast focused on, we call blue collar. I'm going to really, if we're being totally honest, it's really for the middle class. It's for the person who has a job, realize that, I'm going to work until I'm dead because retirement's not that realistic for me, and give them the help they need so they can not only retire, but retire as fast as possible. So what we want to do is create a show that gives you the shortcuts that take you out of the E and the S quadrants on Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant and move you to the B and the I. And we want to give you everything we've learned. And we want to give you every tool we're aware of out there. And we want to give you the shortcuts. If there was one word, it would be shortcuts. That's what the show's about.
Shortcuts and fun. Can we say it's about fun too? I want to have some fun doing it. I want people to be entertained.
That means he's asking for permission to burp on the show.
Or
So,
maybe curse once in a while.
a little cursing. Oh, well, we'll talk to our AI producer on the cursing. I don't know.
I'll try to keep it NC-17.
All right. That sounds reasonable to me. So, hey, Rob, thank you for doing the show. I know it was a little bit of an emergency for us to get on, help out Robert a little bit, but it was a blast. I learned a ton. You and I talk AI all the time, and I still learned a bunch of stuff. So
It's all
thank
good,
you
man.
so much. It was great. And if you're listening, please leave comments. Tell Rob how handsome he is. He gets shy and bashful, and he needs to hear it. And
I need reassurance.
last time I was on the show, there were a bunch of bald jokes. So keep your hat on.
By the way, I'm bald too. I
Oh,
just wear a
he's
hat so
bald.
Greg and I don't look too much alike.
I'm not sure what you're thinking. All right, everybody, thank you for staying this late into the show. We had a blast. I had a blast. And Rob, thank you. Producers, thanks for letting us do this. It was a good time. And we will see you on the Blue Collar Rich Dad podcast.
This podcast is a presentation of Rich Dad Media Network.